7 minutes. That's all it takes. In 1995, Studio Ghibli released something strange. It wasn't a movie, but rather it was a 7-minute animated music video directed by Hayao Miyazaki while he was in the middle of a creative block. It was made for the hugely popular Japanese duo Chage and Aska, and it was unlike anything Ghibli had done before then. No dialogue, no exposition, just a story told entirely through imagery and sound. Now, at the time, Ghibli wasn't the powerhouse that we think of today. They were well respected in Japan, especially after My Neighbor Totoro and Porco Rosso, but global hits like Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away hadn't yet happened. To most of the world, Ghibli was still a secret waiting to be discovered. But even then, On Your Mark showed what made them different. In just 7 minutes, it gives us a world, a conflict, an escape, and maybe even a second chance. So why does it work? Well, we're gonna break that down. But before we dive in, let's briefly talk about what actually happens in the video. So it starts with 2 policemen storming a strange compound during a raid, and they discover a girl who's unconscious, glowing, and with wings. She's not human, she's something else, and for reasons the video never says it out loud, they decide to save her. What follows feels fragmented and almost dreamlike. We see moments of escape, flashes of failures, restarts and rewinds, reality and memory blur together, but the emotion never wavers. The men are willing to risk everything to get her out, through lockdown cityscapes, government labs, and the ever-watchful eye of something bigger than them. And somehow and possibly they do it. They reach the edge of the world and find a place where the sky opens up and the girl takes flight. It's a rescue story, a sci-fi fantasy, but more than that, it's about rebellion, hope, and what it means to protect something fragile in a world that fears it. Now, we can break down and analyze the entire video, and I would love to do that, but right away, the girl with the wings stood out. Not because I understood what was happening. Honestly, I didn't. But there was something different about her. She was caged, weightless, and almost always out of reach. It reminded me of that feeling you get when you're chasing something, a dream or a goal, maybe, but the ground never quite lets you go. And that's what this short does so well. It doesn't just show you a story, it makes you feel like you're living inside of a feeling. The girl with the wings draws your attention. She appears fragile and trapped, yet somehow still slowly reaching towards the sky, symbolizing that tension between hope and imprisonment. On Your Mark invites us to a dystopian city, which kind of reminds me of Akira, where these 2 policemen risk everything to rescue this mysterious girl. Without dialogue, the video relies entirely on striking imagery, all set to the melody of On Your Mark by Chage and Aska, who were among Japan's most popular musical acts at the time. Their song adds a powerful sense of hope and urgency that contrasts sharply with the video's bleak setting. The music video occupies a unique place, a brief experimental work that captures the emotional depth and artistry that would later define Ghibli's later masterpieces. So what makes On Your Mark linger in the mind? Well, there are several reasons. First, the world itself. On Your Mark drops us into a dystopia, a future where freedom feels out of reach, and there are oppressive-looking structures everywhere. But it's never spelled out. Instead, Miyazaki trusts us to piece it together from the details. Things like the cold lab and guarded streets. This visual storytelling is one of the video's strongest tools. Without a single line of dialogue, it communicates the mood and tension all through the animation. You feel the weight of the world pressing down even in moments of quiet. It's classic Studio Ghibli in my opinion. It's things like this animation, which is seen in all of their movies, that makes Studio Ghibli stand out from the rest. Take the scene where the 2 policemen are moving through the bleak cityscape. The animation captures every detail from the flicker of the neon signs to the cold, hard angles of each building. Their expressions tell a story all on their own. Determination mixed with weariness, it's almost as if they know the risks, but they're willing to face them anyway. The silence in this part is almost deafening. No dialogue, just the sound of their footsteps and the distant hum of the city. It's a moment that slows down the pace just enough for us to feel the weight these characters carry, trapped in a system they can't fully control, yet driven by a sense of purpose. The scene sets the tone for everything that follows. It's not a chase or a rescue, it's a glimpse into a world where hope is fragile, and every small act of rebellion matters. And maybe that resembles Hayao Miyazaki's mindset at the time. Now, that scene wasn't just about setting a mood. It's loaded with meaning. The city itself feels like a cage. And then there's the girl with the wings. She's not someone to rescue. She's hope made visible. A symbol of freedom and possibility in a world that's lost both. Her wings represent the ability to rise above, to escape the confines of oppression, even if it's a fragile, fleeting chance. This idea of freedom and the struggle to protect it is at the core of the video's ideas, and it's silent but powerful. Miyazaki doesn't need the words to show us how precious freedom is, or how it can be threatened by the systems that seek control. The winged girl is a beacon and a burden, fragile enough to be broken, but strong enough to inspire rebellion. And maybe that's how Hayao Miyazaki was feeling about the animation studio at the time. He wanted the freedom, but he knew he was trapped by the pressures of what he should be delivering. Now, the second reason that makes On Your Mark so powerful is how it tells a story without even a single line of dialogue. It's pure visual storytelling, and in that silence, every glance and movement carries weight. Miyazaki trusts the audience to feel the story, not just hear it. The absence of words let the emotion breathe and makes the moments hit even harder. Look at the characters and how they communicate with only their eyes or small gestures. Like the policemen share a look, and it says everything about their resolve and the risks they're willing to take. This silent storytelling also gives the viewer space to interpret the story in their own way. It's not spoon-fed. Instead, it invites you to fill in the gaps with your own feelings and experiences, which makes the video feel even more personal and universal at the same time. That quiet storytelling is why the emotional beats linger long after the video ends, probably why it impacted me so much. Now, there's this final moment. It's quiet, brief, and easy to miss. After the girl takes flight, there's a beat of stillness. The two policemen watch her disappear into the sky. No celebration, no dialogue, just a glance between them. It's a small thing, but it says everything. There's relief in their eyes, maybe even awe, but there's also exhaustion, doubt, almost that kind of emptiness that comes after you've given everything for something larger than yourself. And that emptiness is just all that's left. And that's what makes On Your Mark resonate so deeply, because it's not just about freedom, it's about the cost of chasing it, the sacrifices people make, the weight that they carry. It's about doing the right thing even when no one will see it, and even when it might not last. In that look, the quiet, wordless moment, Miyazaki distills an entire emotional arc, and it's in that moment that sticks with you, not because of how loud it is, but because of how deeply it understands the silence is something meaningful. It's the kind of storytelling that doesn't fade when the music stops. It lingers like a memory, or a feeling that you can't quite name. On Your Mark never played in theaters by itself. It was shown in screenings before Whisper of the Heart in 1995, almost like a bonus or a warm-up. But looking back, it feels like something else entirely. It was a signal, a glimpse of where Studio Ghibli was headed, not just in terms of animation, but in the way they tell stories. Quiet, emotionally fearless, and the same qualities that would later define Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. And for Hayao Miyazaki himself, On Your Mark was more than just a side project. He created it during a moment of creative frustration while struggling to write the script for Princess Mononoke. It wasn't just a break, it was a breakthrough. And in some ways, the girl with the wings is more than just a character. Maybe she represents the idea that Miyazaki was chasing. The one that wouldn't land. The one that would finally take flight. As for Chage and Aska, the musical duo who made the song and started it all, they continued to be one of Japan's biggest musical acts through the 2000s, and their music still remains iconic. But for many people outside of Japan, this video was their first introduction, and what a powerful one. So maybe On Your Mark isn't just a music video. Maybe it's proof that even in the smallest spaces, even in 7 minutes, a story can still move you and remind you of the kind of world worth dreaming about. Maybe freedom isn't a destination. Maybe it's the decision to keep reaching for the sky, even when you know you might fall. Thank you so much for watching. Studio Ghibli has been a childhood staple for me, and Princess Mononoke and Ponyo are my personal favorites for different reasons. Hey guys, so yeah, that's basically where the video ends. This is me in the editing process. Sorry it took so long. I've been kind of busy with life and all that. That's kind of why it took so long to make this video, but I'll try to get back to the regular posting schedule of at least once a month, and not that long of a wait. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, hit the subscribe button. It'd really mean a lot, and definitely leave some comments down below. I read every single one. Anyways, have a good one, and hope to see you next time. Peace.